Hi everyone, this is grade 4 Qatar History. We'll be continuing with Unit 1, Lesson 2, Ancient Civilizations in the Arabian Gulf and the Ancient History of Qatar. So let's go through our objectives. First is we will review new words or concepts related to the lesson. Second, recall the contributions of the Majan and An-Nar civilizations. And third, recognize the contributions of the Delmon, Failaka, and Gar'aa civilizations. So let's recall our vocabulary words. You're going to see these words in most of the text for lesson 2. The first one is emerged. Emerged means appeared or began. Like, for example, ancient civilizations in Qatar emerged along the coasts of the Arabian Gulf. Second is economic activity. So these are activities related to trade and mercantile or business. So we can say that there was bustling economic activity or trade during ancient history of the Arabian Gulf because of the interaction among civilizations. Third is agricultural. It relates to farming, the production of crops, and raising of livestock. So later we will be discussing about a civilization that has resorted to agriculture as its industry. So they farmed, they planted and harvested crops, and also they raised animals for consumption. Fourth is industry, which is related to business or commerce. The example we have given in the last lesson was one of Qatar's bustling industries was pearl diving, and also they relied on the industry of fishing and harvesting dates. Fifth is mercantile, so it relates to trade, commerce, and business. For example, our ancient civilizations are mercantile civilizations as well because they were so active in terms of trade relations. So let's review. First, we have the Majan civilization from the last lesson. So if you would recall, the Majan civilization emerged in the region across the Sultanate of Oman and the United Arab Emirates. So it has been a great source of copper and was the center of economic activity during that time. So we have shown you pictures, samples of copper movable monuments of the Majan civilization, which they used for weapons, for pots and pans, for objects that they use in day-to-day life and interaction with other people. And also, they were very active in terms of trading with other people from neighboring civilizations. We also discussed about the An-Nar civilization. So this civilization emerged near the city of Abu Dhabi. So they relied on fishing as a primary source of food, much like the ancient Qatari before. And the most important characteristic of this civilization was their architecture, round-shaped cemeteries like the ones that you see over here. So most of them are still existing and they are protected architectural sites. So now we will proceed to 3 more ancient civilizations in the Arabian Gulf. So we have discussed about the Majan and the An-Nar civilizations. Now we will be discussing the Delmon Civilization along with the Failaka and the Gar'aa civilizations. So let's begin with the Delmon Civilization. So the Delmon Civilization emerged or appeared on the land of Bahrain, in addition to other areas on the eastern coast of the Arabian Peninsula. So what's special about this civilization is that it's one of the centers of economic activity. There was a lot of business and trade going on, and the interest of the citizens of the Delmon before was in building cities surrounded by walls near sea coasts. One example of a stable monument built by the Delmon was the Barbar Temple. So it's a fort. They used it to protect themselves from enemies and of course to settle in a certain place. It's very important to mention that this architectural feature of the Delmon, they built cities surrounded by walls. Why? It's because if you want to stay in a certain place, you want to graduate or evolve from the nomadic way of life wherein you move from place to place, you want to settle. One indication is that you build things. And this was what the Delmon people did before. They built cities surrounded by walls to protect themselves. And also it was near sea coasts because civilizations would need water for them to thrive. So this is from where they would get food. At the same time, it has strategic importance because they could see enemies attacking from the sea and they could protect themselves. They have features of protection in these kinds of forts, like here in the Barbar Temple. Next, we have the Failaka Civilization. So it was located in the northwest corner of the Arabian Gulf facing the coasts of Kuwait. So like the Delmon Civilization, it was also characterized by economic activity. So they were also very good with business and they were especially good with trade activity. So if you would recall in the previous lesson, when we say trade, it's the exchange of goods and services. Like, for example, you belong in one group or in one civilization, I belong in another. I have the items that you want, you have the items that I want. So, what we do is trade or exchange goods. That can also be said for services or things that people do for others, right? So, it had been affected by neighboring urban civilizations. So, if you would recall again in your social studies lesson, when you say urban, it refers to cities. So, you can say more advanced types of civilizations influenced the Failaka groups of people. So one architectural manifestation of this civilization is the Icarus stone, which you can find in the Failaka Island. So just take a look at how very intricate the architecture is. They have carved and imprinted designs on the stones, and also you can find different kinds of architectures and buildings which would have the same design as this one. Last, we have the Gar'aa Civilization. So this civilization emerged in the eastern region of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and it was gifted with a unique trade location. So business will be good, trade will be good if ever you have that strategic economic location. So it was also an agricultural civilization, but the citizens also adopted different kinds of industry. So it's very important to mention that they have resorted to agriculture. When we say agriculture, we mean farming. So the planting and harvesting of crops and also the raising of livestock or animals for consumption or for food. So these Gar'aa people, they have chosen to settle in a specific place and build their community there. And also they had to farm in order to sustain their needs in one area. So they don't have to move around. So this is one important reason why people resort to agriculture or why they farm. And also they had to do this close to the waters so that their plants and their animals can thrive. So for our next lesson, we will be focusing on the ancient history of Qatar, specifically with the location of the Qatari Peninsula and what the effect of that was in terms of the history of the entire Arabian Gulf, the monuments that we can find or that were found in different areas of the country, and also what the Greek historian Herodotus would have to say about the ancient history of Qatar. So tune in for more information on this lesson, and I will see you in the next video.